Back to Wrestling Life. We are here with Zannettis. All 17 of them are in the house. Well, whatever. Feels like all 17 is. Shit, you guys just get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Hopefully not around the waist.
No.
Definitely not.
Not around the waist. Before we started this, you guys were talking about some extracurricular activity that would happen at your house. First of all, I gotta imagine that the Zannetti household growing up had a lot of holes in the walls.
And the couches. We went through 3 couches with the wrestling.
Really?
3 for sure.
3?
3 couches. Working on one right now. We're halfway through the 4th. Wait, hold on. We have a carpet in the mat in the basement. We have a carpet on the wall. And when you lift it, so it makes everything look real neat. Once you open up the like little slit in the thing, you see the walls just like completely crushed.
It's
a funny thing. It's a funny thing.
There were places, I remember there were clubs all over the place, and I remember going over to Steve's over at Elite, and not only did they embrace the hole, before he had wall padding up, not only did he embrace the holes in the wall, he would make people sign them.
It becomes cool. Pride.
You know what? It kind of is, man.
Give credit where credit is due.
Yeah, there's been some lawn furniture at my house that has gone by the wayside.
Yeah.
There's been some deck that got split. I remember this one time we had some people over the house, and we did not have a mat in the basement. But we had carpet, so that's good enough.
That's good enough.
I mean, it's close enough, right? I mean, it was really thick carpet.
Yeah.
So, right. I mean, that's close enough. I mean, let's be honest. But what you call it? I made this one of the linemen from the football team bleed, and I remember it like it was yesterday because we weren't supposed to be in the house. Number 1, drinking. Number 2, wrestling. Number 3, right? Yeah, I mean, like there was a lot of strikes there, and I remember screaming at him for bleeding. like stop fucking bleeding! He's like, I can't stop bleeding!
Well, because the worst person, you're going to have to clean that up.
Well, that was the thing, right? So it was like...
We're not used to cleaning.
It's evidence that people were at the house.
Right. So I remember going, like, calling, like, every girl I knew, being like, well, how do I get blood out of the carpet? And they're like, you don't get blood out of the carpet. It's impossible. So
every wrestler learns that at one time or another.
Yeah, and the truth is I used some peroxide. So for those of you kids out there, use peroxide to get, if it's a tan or... I don't know, maybe if
it worked?
So? More or less. I mean, the truth is...
More or less. Usually it's not red anymore.
I don't even fucking know. Kind of dulled. Yeah, right. It kind of glossed over, really. It made it unnoticeable.
You got through the eye check.
That's right. That was it. That was the most important thing. My old man came home and did not whoop my ass. So, lesson learned.
It's a win, yeah.
That's a lesson learned. But yeah, there's got to be, growing up in a household of 3. You know what's funny too? Like, to me, I never knew what it was like to not be, like, I only have a sister, right? Yeah. So that poor girl, oh my, yeah, I feel so bad for her. She's got a decent high crotch though. Yeah. I'm telling you,
you got to develop something.
No, because what happened was I had nobody to drill with. And I was so fanatical, right? And we're going to talk about Z Fanatical Fitness, I promise. But the truth is, no, honestly, I was so fanatical about wrestling through my entire life. Like, I don't know why this sport latched onto me as much as it did. I really don't know. Was it the one-on-one? I don't know. Now I make it my living, and I'm blessed for it. Trust me, like, I'm not complaining at all. But what I mean to say is I was so fanatical that, I drilled on my 8-year-old sister.
We had a similar thing on Christmas. We'd always go to my cousin's house, my cousin Michelle, who was my age. Now, Jeff and I were always a little bit bigger than Greg, so we couldn't really go with him and scrap. So Greg...
That's a bad story.
No, I was just going to say, they used to wrestle. They used to go at it.
Greg was young.
Greg, the point is, the girl was 6 years older than him, our cousin, and they used to get some brawls. And he used to just flip out. If he wasn't doing everything exactly perfect, he used to just snap.
Really?
Yeah.
I
made him tough.
My sister, she's not a real tough. She was a cheerleader, she played some softball, but she was a cheerleader more than anything else, you know? So not the toughest people in the world, right? So whatchamacallit? I remember her, and and even at that time, I was still in my head, I was still kind of coaching, right? So I remember distinctly making her do push-ups. And, like, we would go push-up for push-up. Like, you do one, I do one, you do two. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, dude, she got into, like, so upset with me. And she still brings this shit up at Christmas dinner. Like, if she has 2 glasses of wine, she will bring this shit up.
People don't
like,
forget.
Dude, she does not. But, like, I remember her, like, I'm like, those fucking push-ups suck. They're terrible. I'm like, you're doing girl push-ups. She's like, I am a girl. You know what I mean? I'm like, but you don't have to do push-ups like a girl. And sure enough, I remember that night, like after she rested for a bit, she stormed up to my room in a huff and watch. And she literally cranked out like 10 perfect, boom, 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 perfect push-ups. And I was like, all right, I can do this coaching stuff. You know? Yeah. And that was kind of like, I was young. I was probably freshman or sophomore in high school. And I'm like, oh my God. I just made somebody do something that they didn't think that they could do. And that's
a great feeling. That's really what it's...
Isn't it crazy? And I didn't go about it the best way, because I was yelling at her, and I was being somewhat negative. And we know
You were young.
I knew, yeah, that's what I mean, though. Like I mean, you know, as a coach now, like, you guys are running the Fanatical Fitness, and I'm running the club, and you get way more bees with honey than you do with vinegar. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I always try, as a coach... I use the build, burn, build rule. Say something positive, then critique, then, you know. And I mean, you know what's funny too? My kid is playing, my son is playing baseball now. And to register is like $200. But you get $150 of it back if you attend the positive coaching meeting or something like that. You know what I mean? So you get like, and my wife's like, you're fucking going to that meeting. It's $150, but you're going to that meeting. So, but what you call it? It was interesting. They were saying every negative critique should have 5 compliments in it.
Yeah, I heard that 5-to-1 ratio.
That's a bit much, I think.
It is.
It's really tough.
You don't have to coddle them and like keep saying positive things, but even just a head nod or a smile, that counts as 1.
You think so?
Yeah. No, that's what we learned.
Yeah.
That was
a non-verbal affirmation.
Leaders, teachers, and coaches and parents, the best ones have a 5-to-1 ratio. But again, like I said, it's just even something like moving forward, a head nod, yes.
Who's the best coaches in sports? Who are the best coaches in sports? Let's not even talk about wrestling.
The best coach at ESPN always says John Wooden.
John Wooden. Okay.
Never spoke about winning to the team.
No. It was always about getting
the most out of yourself. Getting the most out of yourself.
Boom, 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 boom. I think of Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
He's got to be up there, right?
He's up there, definitely.
That dude's legit. He said, and he's part of that, that's a whole big company thing that they have going on there, the positive coaching or something like that. I really don't remember the name, but I did keep the manual, though. I mean, there's some, look, I'm talking, I'm sitting next to a bunch of soccer moms, but the truth of the matter is I can get something out of that.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, and my wife was like, I know you're going to hate it. I know you're going to, I'm like, I'll be all right.
Yeah,
you bring me to bingo night, I'm going to want to, but,
This you can roughly relate to wrestling.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can take something out of it. You know what I mean? And you bring me to bingo night, I want to suck on a bullet, but but that I can get something out of. And that what's his name? Phil Jackson actually does have some type of relationship with that company. He said the best I could ever do was 3-to-1. He said the best I could. 3-to-1's not bad though. It's not easy.
Yeah,
it's not easy.
That's good though, but that's a step in the right direction, which is more than what a lot of coaches do.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
Most coaches even now, really?
Probably usually a negative ratio, I would say.
Really? Because
not intentionally even.
You don't think so? Because there are some negative coaches. We were talking about Denudo, and Denudo was on this podcast last week, and he's negative. But I say that, and it sounds like I'm slamming the guy, but I'm not. He gets results.
He does.
None of his wrestlers like him until after they graduate. They all fucking hate him. They hate. They do.
Yeah.
They all fucking hate him until they graduate. Yeah, no, Johnny, go fuck yourself.
The endorsement. Yeah.
No, but honest to God, I mean, you got to remember, Johnny is one of my good friends. I mean, my kids call him Uncle Johnny. You know what I mean? So, like, it's not like I dislike him as a person. What I'm saying is he has very different philosophies in life. I mean, there have been things that have happened to him that have made him darker and more negative. And I'm not faulting him for it. What I'm saying is it has sculpted his coaching style. In fact, so much so, he texted me the other day. I forget what he wanted. Oh, I know exactly what he wanted. He texted me 2 days ago, Sunday. He texted me and he goes, how much do I give someone for a communion gift? Like, he just wanted to know, and it was ironic because my wife was going to a communion party that specific weekend. So we had that conversation amongst ourselves, and I was like, I don't know. I don't know. So we called like 3 or 4 people. We're like, how much do we give for a communion? Yeah. And the general consensus was $40 or $50. I think for an 8-year-old or whatever the heck it is. That's about right.
Yeah, that's good enough.
Are we good? Yeah. We're cool. All right, good. So we all
You're not spending that money.
That's right. That's right. They're socking it away, or their parents are, right? So I said to him, right, exactly. No, they're going out boozing.
A ton of candy.
A lot of candy. Yeah, that's right.
No, but like so what I said to him was, I'm like, oh wow, that's really interesting. That's ironic. You are now reaping the benefit of like my 5 phone calls to my friends. The general consensus is $40 or $50. And he goes, wow, that's awesome. I'm glad you made those phone calls. I go, you didn't have to make those phone calls. So right now you got to make 5 phone calls and tell 5 people they're awesome. And he was like, whoa, I can't do that.
I didn't get the call.
Right. No, but like, I mean, that is my style. Like, that is so contrary to, like, he was like, whoa. How about I just tell them that they're all right and I don't want to kill them? You know what I mean? Like, so,
compliment from in there.
Right, that, like, there's, I mean, it's a backhanded compliment at best.
Really, when we say negative, it's also important that it's not always negative. Kids need to be corrected.
Yeah.
So we're not even saying a negative to positive ratio. We're saying critique to some sort of praise. Critique meaning like some sort of correction, which is going to happen. Mm-hmm. You know, but if the kid understands that you care about them and that, you know, you are trying to make them a better wrestler and a better individual, if there's that understanding, like with Don Ernst. We used to go on before I talk.
Can you freeze and explain who Don Ernst is and what he has meant to all of us? I mean, let's be honest. I mean, the guy was impactful to pretty much everyone in this room, I would assume. Yeah. You know what I mean? So Don Ernst,
legendary coach.
Yeah, legendary coach. He followed around the 72 Olympic team, which is, and he and I argue tooth and nail which Olympic team was better, 92 or 72. Yeah. He and I go back and forth constantly about that stuff. Don 92 had more medals. I'm just saying.
Same amount of weight classes, though?
Huh?
Same amount of weight classes?
There might have been 10 weight classes.
I think there was 10 and 10, but the real catcher, the real big one is that in 72 there was no way to win a gold medal and still lose a match. So John Smith in 92 actually lost the match.
Won, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the bad mark system.
Right. There was positive point system. So
Yeah.
No, that really wasn't. Well, it's different now.
Well,
it's not.
Now you got penalized. It was a bad mark. You get a half a bad mark for not pinning a guy.
That's right.
Which is why you wonder why there's
pinning a guy in international competition.
People with pinners, you know.
Yeah, who the fuck's going to do that? No, I agree with you 100%. No, 100%. And I don't think that the new system is any better. Because you have to follow a guy. What if you get get worse than?
Are we going to talk about Don? Or are we going to talk?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. And far be it from me to take something.
No, the truth is
from hearing it's just that we can really run.
I got time.
We'll get back to that. We'll get back to the new rules.
I'm on airplane mode, man. I got time.
Don Ernst, legendary coach.
My coach in 7th grade.
Yeah.
I mean, he's come over. He's come over here at all.
Yeah,
comes over here a lot.
Of course, not a lot, but he's been here.
He's been here.
I mean, he's fallen ill lately.
Yeah.
And he's kicking the shit out of cancer. Okay, let's be honest. He's way too tough for cancer.
Positive person. Great heart. Does most of the things just for free, for charities, because he loves it, and because basically wrestling is his vehicle to relate to people.
Yeah.
He just also happens to know his crap.
Yeah.
Because he's been with 4 world teams and Olympic team. He's been all around. So and he's taught us all equally probably as much about life as he did about us.
So you were talking about his coaching style as opposed to
he had he told us, he said, I'm your friend, I care about you, and off the mat, but then when we're on the mat, here's the coach, here's the wrestler can't be equal or above the coach. And he said, he's going to be hard on us, but he's doing it out of love. He said, don't worry if I'm down on you, if I'm hard on you. Worry when I'm not saying anything to you.
Yeah.
Because that means I don't care.
Yeah.
Now, he set the boundary. He communicated that with us. So he may not have needed to have that 5-to-1 every time he critiqued us. He praised us, but there was that underlying
understanding.
That was understood.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting.
There's different ways coaches do it, but it's the communication is what's important. Because if a kid, especially as they get older and older, if they feel like the coach doesn't give a crap, the kid stops caring too.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's a big deal that he said something.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah, and that makes a huge difference. If a coach is just on you, that's totally different.
Oh, yeah. Not only is it different, it's setting the groundwork for those types of situations where
And you're just going to feel like crap if you don't know him. It's like, well,
you're going to question.
I suck,
Yeah, you're going to question whether the person in front of you, the person teaching you, the person that is in charge of your wrestling life, so to speak, whether they actually give a shit about your success the way that you do. And that's what really interests me is the fact that you said, or he said, I suppose, if you don't hear anything from me, that's a problem. I find myself in that quite a bit. Today, I'll be completely honest with you, today was a really challenging day at Rhino Wrestling. Yeah. It was just one of those days where there was the perfect mixture of really inexperienced wrestlers. I'm talking about the youth class. The high school class is pretty easy, dude. I mean, those guys are all self-motivated. Those guys, if you're coming to a club like this, you're coming because you want to be there. Let's be honest. But some of those some of those youth age kids are, and I'll be honest, I love my youth class right now. Like as a whole, I love my youth class. But today was just one of those days where it was the worst mix of super inexperienced whiny crybabies to pretty experienced 6th, 7th graders.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have
that big range.
Yeah, that's like
how low do you go in age?
I have 7-year-olds, man. But
no.
And when I say that, my 7-year-olds are all right. It's my 8, 9s.
First year wrestlers or
no, that's the problem. That's the problem. More is expected of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The 2nd, 3rd year wrestlers at 8 years old, that's really and today I found myself really at my wit's end. It was one of those days where I certainly was not 5-1. I can tell you that. I wasn't fucking close to 5-1, okay? And it got
1 to 5 then.
Well, no, but I found myself walking away from questions, and I found that easier than, I shouldn't say easier. I found that more impactful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was the kids who were messing around, or was the kids who were just they
were being whiny little.
Yeah.
He's doing this. he pushed me in the face. Uh-huh. And I'm looking at him like,
where's the problem?
Yeah. And he goes, but he's a bully. I'm like, whoa.
That word's not matter.
Whoa. Don't use the B word. Easy. Like, America's up in arms about bullies. One of the things that I try to explain, because we get a lot of kids in here, single moms, from divorced families, who have money. Okay, I have like 10 kids in my head right now where their mom's flying coast to coast. Mom's pimping. All right, like she's doing all right.
Yeah.
The dad was the deadbeat, and the dad is gone, and now the kid needs a positive male role model in his life.
Right.
So now all of a sudden, not only am I teaching high crotches, which is what I was meant to do in life. Okay, I'm not just teaching high crotches anymore.
No.
Now I'm
father figure,
daddy. I'm psychiatrist. I'm coach. I'm best friend. I wear a lot of different hats. So you see a kid, and it's fucking tough, man, because I don't want to negatively impact his life ever. You know what I mean? I don't ever want this to be a negative experience for him ever. So what happens is you get a kid that's whiny and crying. I have to show him that that's not okay in some way.
And by doing that, what you're doing is they would say psychology. That's a sound thing. You're extinguishing that behavior. He's going ahead and he's whining. You don't like that, so instead of
what do you know about psychology?
Instead of saying
psychobabble,
well,
as my mom calls it.
No, I love this stuff. I can say I'm not. I'm rolling my eyes in jest because if you don't know, I mean they're rocking with the Z Fanatical Fitness and stuff like that. But you're well on your way to your doctorate and stuff like that. You're going to school to
I'll be a school psychologist.
Okay, so there you go. So you know more than most people about this kind of stuff, and so you're saying what I did today was all right.
Well, if it's a behavior that you don't like to see, instead of telling them stop whining, and then telling them that over and over, you're stepping away from it.
I am.
Then they're getting that message.
You think so?
And then,
I hope so, man.
I mean, as long as they know you care. They know there's already an underlying level that you care about.
They do, man. I think they do. I really do. They're not one of those. I mean, they are from a family that's divorced, but I have like 2 kids in my mind right now. But their parents are both very hands on. They're awesome people. They're really good. Like it's not like dad's gone or mom's gone or something like that. But I have 2 kids in my head specifically that were just a fucking handful today. And I just couldn't put forth. I couldn't do my job.
Yeah.
I couldn't teach wrestling and the virtues of wrestling effectively to everyone else in the class and still deal with their. He's putting his hand on my face.
Like you said, there's many.
It's tough to play. Yeah, it's tough to play a different role. I mean, you're trying to do the right thing, but then.
Right. Well, that was.
So it's like overwhelming.
Right. So where on the that's the real question, right? Where do the priorities lie?
I guess it depends on the day, right?
It does depend on the day. It depends on my patience.
At the end of the day, they're paying to be taught wrestling.
That's true.
So,
yeah.
Walking away seems to be the right thing to do there.
But you also it's tough because you want to have a good impact on their life, of course. Mm-hmm. Maybe more than anything.
But the whining, and that's definitely true. It's a hard thing. There's no easy answer to this question. But it's a lot of kids nowadays they're very coddled. And I say that like.
Are we turning the corner on that? Do you think? Meaning, do you think that? Okay, the '90s made pussies out of everybody. It did. Look, dude.
Not me.
I'm telling you.
The major blow, right?
I'm just telling you. I will sit here and sing the virtues of Pearl Jam and Nirvana, but they made us whiny pussies. Okay?
Well,
they did. But so, do you think that there's going to be? Do you think there's going to be a backlash? I think there's definitely a backlash coming.
I don't know, but I think it's important that we don't coddle them, and I see it all the time, especially being in the school system and everything. It's good all the anti-bullying things we're doing.
Sure,
kids shouldn't be picked on.
For sure,
so that's and definitely we understand the positive is better than the negative.
Yeah,
right. But kids are going to have to be critiqued.
Yeah,
sometimes kids are going to have to not face just punishments, but just real life consequences for behavior. You do this, that happens. And when it's always coddling, they don't learn these real life consequences. That would help shape their behavior.
And it's interesting that you bring it up because I deal with that as a parent too. My wife is amazing. She deals with those my two knuckleheads better than I could ever choose to. But at certain points, and I now I have a puppy too, right? So
that's 3.
So now I got 3, but it's cool because the puppy is just like a test dummy. You know what I mean? Like, I'll put it in timeout, meaning I'll just walk out of the room, and it works. I'm like, oh my God, that actually works. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing as we talked about earlier with those 2 kids today, is you're essentially, you're seeing their reaction to something, taking it in, processing it, choosing not to address it, understanding that their reaction should be, why is he not even reacting to that? So I'm putting them in I guess, a type of wrestling timeout, if you will.
A little bit, yeah. And I mean, and just something simple as just saying that, look, if you guys are going to be, if it's going to be a whiny day, or if you're not going to care, then I'm not going to be. There's a lot of other people in the room who are looking to learn.
That's right.
I'm not going to be spending all this time with you when these other people want to do it. That's just what's going to happen. That's a real life lesson.
That conversation happened today.
Yeah.
That conversation. I go, do you see everyone else in here? Do you see everyone else in here is training? And there was a couple kids, kind of maybe not doing everything they should be, but most of them were doing what they were supposed to be. And I go, look at the difference. I can't spend time with, and they were literally coming up to me.
I think it's good you pulled them aside. I think that's.
And I would never, out them to the class. Hey, stop being a jerk or whatever. I would never ever do that. And specifically, I guess humiliate them. I would never do something like that. But it has to be addressed. It has to be addressed. Yeah. And especially, look, man. Here's the problem. The problem is with now we'll bring it back to specifically wrestling. Okay. What happens is they go to their rec room, their rec wrestling room, and I'm not faulting their coaches because there's probably about 150 kids in that room, and there's 2 dads that wrestled JV in high school that are trying to go, what am I doing here? Yeah. So, it's tough. It's not easy.
Yeah.
So these guys, they do get away with that type of behavior, and that behavior is not nipped directly at the butt. So, we see that quite a bit, man. But you're right. There's definitely a softness.
Yeah, there is. And that's not a good thing. Whereas it's not good to be overly harsh, it's also not good to go the other way. There has to be some kind of balance. Mm-hmm. There's some kind of optimal point.
Do you think that there is going to be a backlash? I saw your eyes light up about that.
I think there will be. I don't see it now.
You don't?
Do you see it?
Yeah, I do, and I'll tell you why. These stupid mud runs?
Yeah.
Tough Mudders and stuff like that. They're huge money makers, but there's a reason for it. People want to be CrossFit. Same thing. That type of...
Perceived as tough.
It's perceived as tough.
Yeah.
Okay? Mm-hmm. It's as tough as you make it, let's be honest, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, the truth of the matter is that I think the way of the Globo Gym is going away. I really do. I hope. I hope upon hope, because we're over the past 10, 15 years, I think we've groomed a lot of pussies. We've groomed just kids that are just, and I don't mean that they can't take a punch. That's not what I mean by that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mean it that, I don't think that they're fit to deal with the hardships of that their life is going to bring them.
No, not every kid is an A student, an A or B student.
Right.
Sometimes they're capable of the C's.
Yeah.
That's their level. And that's what they should be getting. Yeah, but you know what, though? The whole thing is...
Straight C's.
No, you're not the only one in here.
But if that's where they're at... Well, guess what? At the time, we didn't have... At the time, at the end of the 90s anyway, they weren't just pushing us by. Whereas now you see a little bit more... The kids don't make the honor roll, the parents complain.
Yeah.
And then the parents feel like they have to tweak it because it's a very litigious society. Mm-hmm. So they have to make sure...
You mean the administrators have to tweak it?
The administrators, it's just easier to kind of tweak it.
Yeah, it is.
And so there's that. There's getting rid of dodgeball because they alienate certain people. Mm-hmm.
Why is it like
cup stacking? They started doing that in gym instead of. They said, so what do you do for
what the fuck is that?
Okay,
I never heard this.
So here. Where I went for my master's degree at Springfield, Springfield College, Massachusetts.
Right.
I said gym, and everyone bugged out. They said it's physical education because they're very big, like proper with physical education, athletic training, and all.
He's not fucking.
So no, I'm telling you. So I was like, whoa, it's physical education. I said, whoa. When I say gym, I'm speaking with nothing but the utmost reverence. That was my favorite part of the day.
Yeah.
Anyway, they said, I don't understand.
Any wrestler, yeah.
So before I even told them that I don't know why they got rid of dodgeball and gym, I had to contest them about calling it physical education.
Okay.
Then they said,
so that's
hand-eye coordination. I said, that builds hand-eye coordination.
So those people aren't making the turnaround.
So they said, I said, so what do you do now for hand-eye coordination? And they say, they do a lot of different things. They actually showed me cup stacking.
No.
You have different cups.
No.
I said, he shot this thing off. And they're stacking them up. And like, look, it's great for your hand-eye coordination, and it's not physical, so no one has to worry about getting hurt.
You know what I mean? That's a major step back.
That's a step back.
It's a Northeast thing only.
That was one of the top physical education programs, athletic training, sports psychology, sports and athletics is Springfield College. And that was one of the things they were talking about. Not to throw them under. Not to throw them under or anything like that, but that was what they were saying, cup stacking. And that is ridiculous. With all they should be teaching kids about healthy eating, But your
That's
anatomy,
right.
physiology.
Forget about everything else. Forget about everything else. How about the fact that the school lunches are shit?
Huh?
How about the fact that the school lunches are 90?
Yeah.
They are. They're shit. It's
Yeah.
fucking garbage. And the truth of the matter is, there's no way my kids are eating a school lunch. There's no way, dude. Parents. I don't know if you guys get this, but parents bring me gifts all the time. Like, they bring me things, they bring me gifts, right? You know what parents bring me more so than anything else?
Wine?
Fresh, maybe.
You're gonna be complaining then.
Whatever. It's so. No. They bring me fresh produce. I have a dad that works in produce. This dude, and like, you know, now that I drink vegetable shake every morning, you know, and they know that. And it's just something that I've talked to the kids about.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about the benefits of an ice bath tonight. I've talked to them about nutrition as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
You know, and you know what's interesting to me is that all this information, you guys are way more educated than I am in many different ways. You guys, Ivy League educated. You went and did your masters. You know, you went to school at Rutgers.
Two-time scholar athlete.
Two-time scholar. Yeah, I mean,
or it's academical American. I mean.
Yeah. So, like, you guys are way more accredited than I am. But the truth of the matter is, all this information is out there. It's not hard to find.
It's all